You can be stuck in a massive traffic jam, surrounded by cars with steering wheels on the left and cars with steering wheels on the right.
Right, which is just wild.
It really is. And you're looking at a skyline that mixes old, heavy Soviet concrete with shiny modern glass.
Yeah.
But just a short time before that, you were standing in total silence on the floor of a dried ocean that is 100 million years old.
That's a huge change.
Exactly. So, welcome to this deep dive. We are calling this Episode 4, Lakeside and City Lights. Today, we are exploring the extreme, almost shocking contrasts of Mongolia.
We really are.
We're taking you from ancient dry cliffs into a completely chaotic modern city, and finally to the deep peace of a freshwater lake.
It's a fascinating journey, because Mongolia is so much more than just the endless green grass and horses that most people picture.
Right.
It is a place of sudden, dramatic changes.
Yeah.
The landscape doesn't just shift gently, it completely transforms.
Yeah, it's like a totally different world.
Exactly. And what we want to explore today is exactly how these extreme environments, the ancient desert, the busy city, and the silent lake, literally shape the people who live there and, the experience of anyone traveling through it.
So let's start with where we are coming from before we hit the city. We need to set the scene a bit.
Good idea.
We are in the deep desert, visiting a place called Sagan Suvraga.
Yes.
People often call it the White Stupa.
Yes, the White Stupa.
Picture this. You are driving across a huge, flat, dry desert, and suddenly the earth just drops away.
Like a huge cliff.
Right. You are looking at a massive, colorful cliff stretching out in front of you.
Okay.
It is built of these bright, distinct layers. You see red, orange, yellow, and white rock.
It really is breathtaking.
Yeah.
And the reason it looks like that is a story of deep geological time.
Oh, yeah.
100 million years ago, this incredibly dry desert was actually the bottom of a massive ancient ocean.
Which is so hard to imagine now.
It is. Over millions of years, the water dried up, and what was left was just the flat sea floor.
Right.
Then, over millions more years, wind and rain carved that flat floor into these towering, sharp cliffs. It looks almost like a ruined city, or a city of gods carved out of the rock.
Okay, let's unpack this because the visual is just wild. Think of the earth there less like a simple cliff and more like a giant physical history book.
That's a great way to put it.
Every single colored layer of rock you see is another chapter. Every tiny bit of sand pressed down represents thousands of years of planetary history.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is really hard to imagine an ocean in the middle of a dusty desert. When you are standing there looking at a dried up ocean, how does that impact you?
Well, it forces you to realize how small our human timeline really is.
Yeah, it really puts things in perspective.
It does. The Mongolian word Sagin means white, but it also means pure or kind. When you stand there looking at a timeline that covers 100 million years, you realize that the Earth is always changing.
Right. It erodes, it shifts.
Exactly. It dries up. Our entire human history is just a tiny blink of an eye compared to that rock. It gives you a profound sense of humility.
And, that quiet humility makes our next transition so shocking.
Oh, absolutely.
Because after experiencing that silent ancient desert, the journey takes a very sharp turn. You reach day 7 of the trip, and you move away from ancient nature directly into modern human chaos.
Yes, the big city.
You enter the capital city, Ulaanbaatar.
The contrast is an absolute shock to your senses. You leave the total silence of the Gobi Desert,
Right.
and suddenly you are hit with a wall of noise, people, traffic, and concrete.
The sensory details from the sources really stand out here. The very first thing you notice entering Ulaanbaatar is the smell.
Oh, the dust.
Yeah, there is a distinct smell of dry dust mixed with the exhaust of thousands of cars.
And visually, it is a completely blended city.
Totally. You look to your left and you see these heavy, blocky, old Soviet-style apartment buildings. You look to your right and there are tall, shiny, modern glass towers reflecting the sun.
The architecture perfectly shows a city caught between its past and its future. Since the 1990s, Ulaanbaatar has grown at a really explosive rate. They are modernizing so fast, but the physical bones of the old socialist city are still right there.
But speaking of modernization, here is a detail from the streets that absolutely stopped me in my tracks.
What's that?
The cars. If you watch the heavy traffic, you will see cars with steering wheels on the left side, which is normal for North America and Europe.
Sure.
But driving right next to them on the exact same side of the road are cars with steering wheels on the right side. Wait, how did that actually work?
It sounds crazy, right?
It does. If you are driving a right-hand drive car on the right side of the road, and you want to pass a slow truck, you literally cannot see the oncoming traffic. That sounds incredibly dangerous.
It does sound like a recipe for disaster. But what's fascinating here is why this happens.
Okay, why?
In the early 1990s, Mongolia changed to a free market economy very quickly. Suddenly, people needed cars, but they did not have a large car industry in their own country.
So they had to bring them in from outside.
Exactly. They created an incredibly open import market. They buy cheap, high-quality used cars directly from Japan, where cars are built with the steering wheel on the right.
Okay, that makes sense.
And they also buy from South Korea, where the steering wheel is on the left.
So they just throw them all into the same roads and hope for the best.
Pretty much.
What about toll booths or parking garages?
Well, they adapt. Often, a passenger will have to reach out the window to grab a parking ticket if the driver's on the wrong side.
Oh, wow. That is hilarious.
It requires a lot of communication and careful attention from the drivers. It looks like pure chaos to an outsider, but it is a powerful symbol of their modern culture.
How so?
They put practical needs above strict rules. They need affordable cars, so they buy what is available and simply make it work.
They just make it work. I love that. So after surviving that wild traffic, you finally arrive at your accommodation.
Yes, time to rest.
You are staying at a cozy hostel right in the city center, near a famous landmark called the State Department Store.
A great location.
It is, but here is the catch. There is no elevator. You have to carry your bags up 3 steep flights of stairs.
Oh, man. After a long drive from the desert, those stairs are going to feel like climbing a mountain.
Definitely. But the payoff is inside. The hostel is decorated in a real, authentic Soviet style, which makes it feel very nostalgic and warm.
It has a lot of character.
It really does. It feels like stepping into someone's actual home. And the best detail, the hosts immediately give you warm slippers to wear inside.
Oh, that is a very important cultural detail.
Really? Tell me more.
In countries with harsh, dusty, or snowy environments, taking off your street shoes and putting on house slippers is not just about being comfortable.
Right, it's about the dirt.
Exactly. It is a strict rule of cleanliness to keep the outside dirt from ruining the living space. Offering warm slippers is the ultimate sign of hospitality. It tells the traveler, you are safe, the journey is paused, you can finally rest.
But we cannot rest for too long.
No, we cannot.
We have a whole city to explore. This brings us to the cultural heart of Ulaanbaatar. We step back out into the busy streets and head to Sukbatar Square.
Ah, yes, the big square.
This is the massive, open square right in the center of the city.
Every major city has its central gathering place, but Sukbatar Square is special.
It really is. It is anchored by these huge, impressive statues of Genghis Khan, who many people know as Genghis Khan and his family.
Yeah.
But why is this statue so important here today?
Well, it is about taking back their national identity. During the Soviet era, honoring Genghis Khan was actually restricted.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes, the history is heading away. But once Mongolia became a democracy, they proudly brought him back as the ultimate symbol of Mongolian strength, unity, and independence.
Wow.
So standing in that square, you are looking at the physical proof of a country reclaiming its own story.
That same mixing of eras is obvious at our next stop, the Bogd Khan Palace Museum.
Yes, a beautiful place.
This was the winter home of the last emperor of Mongolia. But the building style is completely surprising.
It is a mix, right?
It is. It mixes traditional, detailed Buddhist art with European building styles. How did European architecture end up in a Mongolian emperor's palace?
That is a great political detail. Mongolia has historically been a buffer state, meaning they sit between bigger countries. Exactly. A country sitting right between 2 massive powers, Russia and China. To keep their independence, Mongolian leaders often made friends with other distant powers, including European nations.
Oh, I see.
The Bogd Khan Palace shows that strategy. The emperor was deeply committed to his Buddhist faith, which you see in the stunning temples.
Right.
But he also added European design elements to show that Mongolia was a modern, globally connected nation.
So the buildings are a physical map of their political strategy.
Right.
Speaking of maps, to really understand Ulaanbaatar, you have to see it from above. That means walking to the day7 Memorial Hill.
Okay, right.
And yes, you have to climb over 300 steps to get to the top.
More climbing. But it is necessary to understand the city's geography.
Exactly. At the top, there is a beautiful circular painting honoring soldiers, but the real reward is the view.
The view is incredible.
You get a wide, top-down view of the entire capital. You see the mountains ringing the city, trapping the glass towers and the old neighborhoods inside.
That geography is very important. Ulaanbaatar is built in a river valley, completely surrounded by mountains.
Like a bowl.
Yes, exactly like a bowl. And that bowl shape is exactly why you smelled that thick dust when you arrived.
Oh, it traps it.
Right. In the winter, the cold air sinks and gets trapped in the valley by the mountains. It creates what's called an inversion layer.
So it holds everything in.
Yes. It traps the dust, the exhaust from those imported cars, and the smoke from coal heating. The city's geography creates its own atmosphere.
After taking in that view, you head back down for a cultural performance at the Tumen Ek Ensemble.
This is a highlight.
This is where you witness traditional Mongolian arts, including the famous throat singing. And honestly, the sounds these singers produce seem physically impossible.
It really does.
They are singing two completely different notes at the exact same time.
It is an incredible human achievement. The way throat singing or overtone singing works is fascinating.
How do they do it?
The singer produces a deep, low bass note from their vocal cords. But at the same time, they change the shape of their throat, their mouth, and their tongue.
To do what?
To amplify the natural overtones. Those are the higher sounds hidden inside that low note.
So they use their own mouth like the wooden body of a guitar.
Exactly. They change their mouth shape to isolate a high whistling sound while still holding the low rumble.
That is amazing.
Culturally, it's meant to copy the sounds of the Mongolian landscape. The deep rumble of an earthquake or a river, combined with the high whistle of the wind blowing over the flat grass.
It really is like listening to the landscape sing.
It is.
But now, my favorite part of the day, the welcome dinner.
Oh, the food.
The food here is heavily focused on meat and dough. We are talking about kushur, which is a crispy, deep-fried pastry filled with meat,
Delicious.
and booze, which are rich, steamed meat dumplings, usually made with mutton or beef.
It is heavy, high-calorie food,
Yeah.
which is exactly what your body needs to survive in a climate that can drop to minus 40 degrees in the winter.
And that need for survival perfectly explains the drink that comes with the meal, Mongolian milk tea.
Oh yes, the tea.
Here is where it gets really interesting. When most people hear milk tea, they think of a sweet, sugary drink, maybe with tapioca pearls.
Right, like bubble tea.
Exactly. But Mongolian milk tea isn't sweet at all. It is milky and it is very salty.
Very salty.
Honestly, it is basically a warm bowl of soup. If you take a sip expecting sugar, the saltiness will really shock you. Why put salt in tea?
Well, because sugar doesn't help you survive the cold plains. Think about the biology of a nomadic herder.
Okay.
They are working incredibly hard outside in cold, harsh winds. They are sweating under heavy coats. When you sweat, you lose salt or sodium.
That makes sense.
And when you are cold, your body burns fat to stay warm. So a warm tea made with water, milk, fat, and salt replaces exactly what the body is losing.
Oh, wow.
It restores your energy. It is not a dessert. It is an essential survival broth.
It is pure functional science. I love how practical that is. So let's look at where we are.
We've done a lot.
We have climbed hundreds of steps, dodged cars passing on blind corners, explored massive statues, and eaten rich, heavy meat and salty broth.
It's a busy day.
The city of Ulaanbaatar is electric, but it is exhausting.
The traveler's body and mind are completely overloaded by this point. You really need a reset.
Which brings us perfectly to day 8 of the journey. We leave the heavy air and the concrete of the city behind, and we travel to the calm, clean waters of Oji Lake.
Ah, Ogi Lake.
The contrast is immediate. There are no cars, there is no dust. It is just a huge space of clear, fresh water, green grass, and birds.
It is an environmental shock, but a very positive one. You go from a crowded, fast-paced city to a place of total stillness.
The activities here match that stillness. You can spend the day bird watching, you can walk softly along the edge of the water,
Very relaxing.
or you can take a kayak or canoe out onto the smooth lake for 35 minutes and just float. And your accommodation completely changes too.
Yes, no more stairs.
Right. You aren't in a brick hostel anymore. You are sleeking by the lake in a tourist gear camp.
The gore is the traditional round tent of the Mongolian nomads. And just like the salty tea, it is a masterpiece of practical engineering.
Let's break down that engineering because it is not just a simple tent, right? It is perfectly round and sits directly on the earth.
Right. The circular shape is highly intentional. The Mongolian plains have fierce, strong winds.
Oh, I bet.
A square building with flat walls would catch that wind and take massive structural damage. But wind simply flows right around the smooth, round shape of the gur.
That is so smart.
And inside, it is supported by a wooden frame that can fold up easily. This means a family can pack up their entire house in an hour and move their animals to better grass.
And it is covered in thick layers of animal felt, which provides incredible warmth against the cold.
It does.
Inside, it feels incredibly cozy. There is a central stove, and the space is organized by strict cultural rules about where guests sit and where the older people sit.
Yes, it is very structured.
It is a complete portable home. But we just came from a city with modern stores and traffic jams. Sleeping in a round tent by a quiet lake must feel like stepping onto another planet. How does this contrast affect a traveler?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, being out there sleeping in that gur by the lake, it changes how you see resources.
What do you mean?
In Ulaanbaatar, water just comes from a pipe. But at Ogi Lake, you realize how precious fresh water is in a country that is mostly desert and dry grass.
I see.
The lake acts like a giant calm mirror reflecting the sky. Mongolia is famously known as the land of the eternal blue sky because they get over 250 sunny days a year.
That is a lot of sun.
It is. Out by the lake, you finally have the quiet space to process everything you saw in the city.
It really highlights the two completely different souls of Mongolia.
It certainly does.
And that brings us to the end of today's deep dive. Let's do a quick recap of this intense journey.
Let's do it.
We started by looking back millions of years at the dry, colorful layers of the Sagan Suvraga seafloor.
The waste stupa.
Right. Then we plunged into the dusty, fast-changing streets of Ulaanbaatar, where European palaces sit next to Soviet apartments.
And the crazy traffic.
Yes, where cars from all over the world share the road and you drink salty tea for survival. Finally, we completely rested our minds by the silent, clear waters of Ogi Lake, sleeping in a brilliantly designed round gur.
It is a journey of absolute extremes. And before we go, I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder.
Okay, what is it?
Throughout this deep dive, we have seen how the environment dictates how people live. In the dusty, crowded city of Ulaanbaatar, the people have adapted by becoming incredibly flexible.
Like with the cars.
Exactly. They bend the rules, they mix old and new, and they just make the chaos work. But out by the calm waters of Ogi Lake, life requires stillness, patience, and a deep respect for nature's quiet rhythms.
It makes you wonder about yourself. If you moved to Mongolia tomorrow, which of those two landscapes do you think would shape your personality the most?
That is the big question.
Would you thrive in the unpredictable, rule-bending energy of the city? Or would you find your true self in the silent, ancient rhythms of nature?
It is a question of where your soul feels most at home.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through lakeside and city lights. We hope you enjoyed exploring these massive contrasts as much as we did. Keep questioning the world around you, keep exploring those hidden layers, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.